Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host Jay. I'm here with my co-host Brad.
Bit of a joyful week on the left. Bit of another nonsensical week on the right. Put it to you this way. If you thought that like you've been saying I'm just going to tee this one up for later in the show, and I think this might end up behind the paywall. So just FYI, Jay's been talking for a real long time about how the Republicans have been looking to just scuttle away the Joe Biden impeachment, and I can think of no better time to drop the news that they dropped this week than during the Democratic National Convention, when literally nobody will see it. Yes. But luckily for you guys, we did.
We didn't miss it, you fucking asshole. Right. Nice try, dicks. No, look, it feels good to be out of the US of A again. I'm back.
You're gonna be on your hands and knees begging to come back in 5 months, Buster.
Oh, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Otherwise, you'll be on your hands and knees. Let me in. You're that Eric Andre. For the love of God, speak for me.
Yo quiero mi casa in Mexico.
The fact that Taco Bell had an ad that said "make a run for the border" is one of the most racist. Holy shit!
It was a different time.
It was. Holy shit! The 90s, man. So look, it's good to be back. What I will say is this: there are many hot takes that are happening about the DNC. DNC Day 2 is going on, or is it Day 3?
No, today's Day 2.
Day 2. That's all happening, and I'm enjoying watching people be happy. I really am. And I sort of teed up for you offline. I've been listening to while I've been on some planes this past week. I was listening to a couple of episodes of the Ezra Klein show, which I enjoy. I think it is the most it is a really good representation of really kind of elite leftist intelligentsia, right? When you listen to these people talk, you're like, wow, they're really educated. Like, these people are really, really smart, right? But it's, and sometimes you're like, I don't know what the fuck these people are talking about. I'm dumb. I'm just a regular person. And then most of it, though, you get oh, that's actually a really good point, right? They do a pretty good job breaking shit down. But he was interviewing two people, and I'll try to see if I can find their names. And the one woman on the show made a point that I think is so obvious that I just hadn't thought of it, but the way she had packaged it was just kind of brilliant. So she was talking about how, recently, you can really look at how the Harris campaign or the Harris-Walz campaign has been operating, right? This idea of there's so much joy and everybody is having a good time, they're having fun with it and everything else. And so she said, she's a real, they're basically this real monster on social media, which is obvious, right? They are, they're just dominating social media. And so she said, it's interesting to watch the Trump era when that came about in 2016. It was all dominated by this sort of the darker corners of the internet, right? She actually had given a book recommendation, which I will give as well, because I started reading it, called Black Pill, which is about that. And it's super fucked up and wow, holy shit, all of this shit, right? And sort of that rise into the 4chan, into 8chan, into all of that, into the Pepe the Frog shit, and then, into 2016. But she was talking about how his rise in 2016 is so synonymous with that darker side of the internet. And that's where all of that shit came from, that it's wild because Harris's rise comes from the TikTok era, which is all fun dances and it's pretty light fare, right? There's more serious things in there, but that's not what 4chan is, right? And I was like, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. And then Klein kind of doubles down on that. And he goes, and then if you take a look at Obama, he's kind of the rise of social media in a way, right? In 2008, he's taking Facebook and kind of using Facebook, which no one had really ever done before, and using that as his sort of catalyst. And it just kind of, when I was listening to that, I was like, that's a really good way to sort of maybe even not a predictor necessarily, but you can really see where the country is going based on where it is in the social media spaces. Like what is the larger force? Is it more positive? Is it more negative? Like what does that look like? I found that to be a really fascinating take, but I think it's pretty accurate.
Well, and also too, I mean, you look at we were kind of poised for this, right? Because, you know, especially after the pandemic, where everyone was stuck inside for, you know, 3/4 of a year basically, and you know, preceded by the 4 years of Trump, you know, before that, and how like angsty basically every fucking day was in this country because you had a literal lunatic at the wheel, and we spent the last couple of years kind of digging out of that. Like it's a nice feeling of relief to be at a point where we can just like, oh, like, isn't it nice to just fucking enjoy things again? Like, isn't it nice to just have a smile and to, I mean, yeah, we're fucking still terrified about November and very concerned and want to make sure we get over the finish line. But it does feel, it's hard to remember back to 8 years ago, but it does feel different than like the Clinton campaign. Like the Clinton campaign definitely did not feel joyous. It felt, you know, it felt like a necessary evil to combat. And that's also what the Biden campaign felt like this year until he left, where it was just like, hey, like, we've got a job to do, and I know no one's really happy about it, but like, we've got to fucking show up at the door and make it happen. And we've transitioned from that into like, actually, no, like freedom's the message. Like we love fucking America. And this is what America should be in. This, and you can see it like, so I saw on Reddit when I was scrolling, literally a side-by-side of the RNC versus the DNC. And at the DNC, everyone's holding up signs that say like USA and freedom, like literally showing it right on MSNBC, two women holding up a sign that says freedom and thank you, Joe. And the signs being held up at the Republican Party all say mass deportations now. Like, like there's literally no more stark of a contrast between the two parties than that, I would say.
Yeah. I was like, how did I not think of that? Like it's a brilliant observation. Her name, by the way, is Christine Emba. She's a staff writer for The Atlantic. But it's a very good interview with her and another dude named Zach Beauchamp. And it's called Manliness, Cat Ladies, Fertility Panic, and the 2024 Election. But yeah, it's a very good episode of that show. I thought it was really smart. So yeah, look, I think things are going well, and I think that sort of lightness, like it may not seem to matter to some people, but I think it like the sort of like the pundit class, maybe like, everybody's happy, but how happy are they really? You know, that type of shit.
Well, we'll get into some of the reactions from the pundit class last night, because of course they couldn't, you know, we couldn't go one night of just good vibes without people pouring a fucking pitcher of cold water on things.
Well, it's just a bunch of concern trolling. But that being said, people underestimate that, like, that positivity. Like it feels good, and it's nice to feel like you are for something instead of against something, which is exactly, to your point, that's exactly what you saw at the RNC. They're just against things, literally. Mass deportations now. Hey, grandma, put that sign down. What the fuck's wrong? Right? So it's a very different angle to take when you're talking about politics, and I think that's sort of like, I have another hot take, my own, not about them, but I have a hot take on the DNC. We'll get to it, but and I think it really matters, and I think it's a thing maybe people will notice after the fact, but I'd like to just put a little fucking trademark early on this. Something I'm noticing about how things are shaping up. So yeah, it feels good to be back, man. It feels good to be at.
It does, and so, you know, night one was last night, and night one was as much about looking like it was a combination of like getting the Harris, you know, like the official Harris campaign off the ground, and also like the victory lap for Joe Biden. Essentially, that's pretty much what it was last night. A lot of really good speeches. AOC and Raphael Warnock in particular stood out to me as two really effective speeches. Like, again, everyone that listens to this podcast knows full well you and I very much non-deity believers, definitely strong atheists, but that doesn't mean that we are immune to to the charms of a really eloquent preacher getting in his business. So,
dude, like Warnock is a great fucking speaker. He is like, look, good preaching, right? I grew up in the church. Like preaching is like, it's a skill, man. Like, especially a black preacher or a black pastor, that's a fucking skill. It's a really, really hard fought, hard learned rhetorical skill. And I don't give a fuck who you are. You can get hyped the fuck up if the pastor is really good. You can. Because, like, please don't tell them to, like, go yell at gay people. Like, yeah, you almost had me. That message is terrible, right? But if you're saying some, like, positive shit, yeah, it feels good. Like, they're literally just cheerleaders for Jesus. Like, that's all they are. Yeah. They're the Flavor Flav. They're more of a hype man. They're the Flavor Flav of religion. But when you get them behind a message that is, like, something like pushing against fascism and pushing for freedom and stuff like that, you can't help but to get pulled into that shit. Like, you just can't help it. I mean, even Obama's style is very similar in a lot of ways to that sort of black pastor style, and it fucking works. Like, it just does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't surprised.
And then Joe Biden had his kind of last great moment in the sun, I think, with his speech last night, which was really good for the first half an hour. I think he started to fall off a little bit. After 30 minutes, he talked for 45. It was past his bedtime. He started at 11:30. Yeah. So I get it.
Hey, Joe, 30. Let's just cut it down.
Right. But no, he like I said, I think he did a really nice job. Kind of again taking a victory lap and then really starting to promote. Harris had a good line saying that, like, you know, if they need a strong volunteer, like, I'm ready to volunteer for that campaign right now, like that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Also, another good line where he talked about, you know, what they accomplished with infrastructure. Like, Donald Trump had an infrastructure week every week, and he didn't build a damn thing in this country.
Hey, hit him up.
Good. Pretty good one. And I will let you know, despite the late start for Biden, apparently the DNC had 20% higher ratings than the RNC on night one. So,
yeah, that was a story I had later that I put largely useless information that is going to make Donald Trump cry.
Dude, apparently, reportedly, he is terrified about what her ratings are going to look like on Thursday compared to his. Like he's literally fearing.
You should,
yeah,
dude,
literally fearing it.
Dude, the first night was 21%. What the heck do you think? Who introduced you? Hulk Hogan? How do you think this is gonna fucking work? Get out of here. She's gonna crush this.
But the hot take from the pundit class that just kind of annoyed me a little bit last night was like, they were like, well, I don't know that Joe Biden did enough to really, like, give the kind of speech to promote Kamala. I'm just like, guys, like, we've got 3 more fucking days of this. Dude's ending a fucking 50+ years career in politics. Like, I'm gonna let him stunt on them hoes as the parlance of our times go.
Right. Also, bitch, he's still the president. Like, I still got work to do. Like, I got work in the morning. Like, what the fuck? I'm up late. Shut up.
Look, well, technically not actually. After his speech, he's fucking off to California for 2 weeks apparently.
Well, you know what? Good for him.
To go take vacation.
But he's still the president, right? He's still, you know, they're still calling him at 3 a.m. So, like, here's my thing. This is exactly what I wanted the DNC to do. Like, if you go back and listen to our past episodes, when we talked about, okay, if he's retiring, or if he's not going to seek the nomination and he's going to give it to Harris, I believe that was the logo where I had them doing a hot tag. Then this is exactly what they needed to do. They needed to have a night of him holding that torch and passing it on to Harris, and everybody giving him, like, thank you, Joe, like, you got us here, holy shit, that fucking praise. He's supposed to go out like the big dog, handing it over to the next generation. And that's what you want. That's what you want, right? And from what I can tell, that worked. Apparently there's been many bottles of ink spilled over Kamala Harris saying, you know, I love you so much, Joe, like, after the speech or whatever. And apparently Republicans were like, why did she say I love you? Like, what's her problem? Like, you guys are so fucking weird, man. Like, you guys are really weird. Like, dude, they're friends. Like, they're legit.
Fellas, is it gay to tell your friend who's a woman that you love her?
Yeah, like, why is Waltz hugging, or why is Doug Emhoff hugging his daughter? Is it gay to love your own kids? Because my
Fucking
dad didn't.
Doug.
I'm just asking. What the fuck? Stop being weird.
By the way, did you see that viral video that went around of that young Democrat who was just like giving the business to Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk apparently got credentialed? For the DNC.
I saw that. Yeah, that young kid who was like, hey, welcome to the DNC. Go fuck yourself. Like, oh man.
Kirk's come back. It's like, what is woman? What is a woman? Tell me what a woman is. And the kid's like, God, you're so fucking weird. Like instead of asking me that, why don't you go fucking talk to one?
Oops. Good. Look, good. Fuck that guy, man. He sucks. So also, what is a woman? Bitch, didn't you guys just think that a boxer wasn't a woman a week and a half ago? Like, you didn't know. So shut up. Like, knock it off. So here's my theory. Or here's my, not a theory, but here's my observation of the DNC so far. Back in 2008, when Obama ran, and it was his first DNC, accepting the nomination, all that. The way that things were structured in that DNC was not happenstance, is what I'll say. And what I mean by that is the scheduling and who talked and what they said. It was very clear to me, and I don't know if like maybe Annie and I talked about this those number of years ago. But it was very clear to me that there was a very specific thing that the Democrats were doing, which is not just laying the case out for Barack Obama, which is obvious. That's what you're supposed to do. Republicans do the same thing for their candidates, but it is how they did it, right? So just to get a little nerdy here for a moment, go with me. There is ethos, pathos, and logos, right? This is three methods of sort of convincing someone to your argument, right? There's nothing more convincing to an argument than vote for our guy for president, right? Ethos is the emotional argument. Pathos is the argument based on like credibility. And then logos is the logical argument. With Obama, just like, because I've been kind of looking at this the last couple of hours, the main principal speakers for Obama's convention, on day one, it was the big ones were Michelle Obama, Ted Kennedy, and Nancy Pelosi, right? That's your, like, Michelle Obama doesn't kind of quite fit in this, but although she kind of leans obviously credibility for the person, right? That's your pathos, right? These are people who are deeply rooted in the idea of like, is there anyone more insider than Nancy Pelosi and Ted Kennedy? I don't fucking think so. And if these guys are vouching,
2008 for sure,
right?
So.
But like, if these guys are vouching for him, that means whatever arguments you have about him being this young senator and everything else, and does he have the experience? They're there to shore that up and go, don't worry, we're lending our credibility onto him, right? Then featured speakers after that on the next day is Hillary Clinton and Mark Warner, right? And then you have the next night after that, Joe Biden and Bill Clinton, right? Clinton and Biden both represent, pathos as well, but also Clinton is more pathos than Biden is at that point, right? Biden is really there to be like, listen, this guy, he can do it, right? Like, let's get on the emotional fucking side of this shit, but like, this guy can do it. And he's also, a little bit of logos, obviously, too, right? He's a logical person. And obviously Clinton is. And then you have the final night, which is Obama speaks. He's all fucking ethos, right? Literally, the day of that speech was the theme of that day was change you can believe in, right? That's all emotion. So
it's funny that you say that he's an emotional argument, because I've always,
I mean, he's a hyper logical person.
I'm about to say, like, I've always seen him as a hyper logical speaker. So
right, no, but he is, right? Like, because it's not all like all one thing, right? No one is all one thing.
Well, that also speaks more to me, because that's the part of my brain that gets activated. Like that's the part that I'm keying in.
Because you're listening in for like, what are the policies and shit like that. But no, you're not exactly incorrect either. But the ethos side of that is hope change. That's the fucking rhetoric that you're like, oh, that fucking feels good. That feels good. These guys are going to do it. They used that method to corner all three of those arguments so that when you walked away, you go, I agree with that. And what I'm seeing is they did not do that with Clinton. Clinton was the sort of, they were arrogant, right? It was the inevitability of it all. Like, fucking high-fiving everybody. We got this in the back, right? They're like, nailed it. But they're going back to it now. Because the first night you get Biden. Yes, he is the ultimate fucking credibility argument. Who else has been a senator, a vice president, and now a president? Who knows that fucking train better than him? Nobody does, right? Actually,
well, it's also funny because besides Biden, who is, as you alluded to earlier, also taps into the emotional aspect as well. Yes. Yesterday was the fucking emotion day as well, because you had AOC, you had Jasmine Crockett, you had fucking Raphael Warnock, you had Kamala Harris's childhood best friend, you had like the abortion victims that have been impacted by these Republican laws that spoke. So yeah, that was last night was definitely the emotion night for sure.
Right.
So.
Okay, so there's your ethos, right? That's your ethos night.
Yeah.
Who's the big speaker tonight? It's fucking Barack Obama, right?
Yeah, and Michelle Obama.
And Michelle Obama, right?
At that point.
There's your fucking, there is your credibility. Motherfucker, I've been here. I used to be the president. I was the first black president. Like, what the fuck? Like we're doing this. You remember breaking the glass ceiling? I broke the other glass ceiling, right? Like, he's the credibility. He comes in and says, remember me, you guys, you remember how when I left, you guys missed me and you were all fucking sad because you got that other asshole in? I'm back here to tell you I'm speaking for her. I'm vouching for her. This shit feels like 2008, right? And then who's the last speaker? It's her. The logical fucking argument. You got this asshole on one side and you got me. You know both of us. You've seen both of us. Do you want to go back? Or do you want to say we're never going back again? We're never going back is the most logical argument to a guy who was impeached twice, right? Like, who got you into COVID and got it made it worse and all this other shit. We're never going back is the most logical fucking argument. They are doing, and this is like the shit about politics that like I really love, because when you have people working this shit who are actually intelligent people who know how to set an argument and things like that, this is the type of shit that they do. This is not by happenstance. It's like, why don't we just pick a bunch of random people in the Democratic Party? Fuck no, dude. No, they know exactly what they're doing because they want to corner that market, they want to corner the argument from three different angles. And so far, so fucking good. But look at the Republican National Convention. What was theirs?
All they have is emotion.
Grievance. Fucking.
All they have.
Put a tampon on your fucking ear. They don't have anything because they cannot. The problem is they cannot argue from this perspective. They can't do a pathos, ethos, logos argument because their stuff is rooted in like tying it to the past. Like you have the emotional part has to be like you got to bring people in and you got to excite them for something going forward. They don't have anything going on. They're like,
as if to put too fine a put on it or too fine a point on it. His literal slogan is "Make America Great Again." Like that. Like that's not a future looking statement. That is something that's directly
rooted in the past.
Looking back at the past. So.
Right. Even before he ran because he took it from someone else.
Right.
So. Yeah, it's just something I noticed. And I think it's one of those things where when you then realize like what the method is of like, okay, they are trying to make an emotional argument. They're trying to make a logical argument. They're trying to make a credibility argument. When you see that, and then when you listen to what they say, it has that much more impact. You're like, there it is. Okay, I see who this person is being in this, trifecta of angles. And then when you see that, you can realize that these guys are the adults in the room. They always have been. Because that's how you form an argument. These are the nerds who go, oh, let's work on the emotional aspect, let's work on the logical aspect. And like, but that's who you want. These are the people you want in power. You don't want a bunch of like fucking flailing around idiots.
Well, and as we'll talk about, because, we're probably going to take a break and then pivot to how it's been going for the Republicans this week. Yikes. I mean, again, like the spiral continues in earnest. There's of course, the term "circling the drain" comes to mind when looking at how Donald Trump is reacting to all of this, basically.
All right, let's pivot to hair on fire conservatism. Go for it.
Well, before that, let's talk about why, because so Semaphore put out some polling insights for the first time since Harris has entered the race. And if you want to know why Trump is losing his fucking wig, and again, we have to put the disclaimer in it always about this stuff. Polling is a moment in time. It's not predictive of future success. It's literally just to look at, the current state of the race. Kamala Harris is ahead in 5 of the 7 key swing states since popping in just 3 weeks time.
Mm-hmm.
And even states that, like, when Biden was around, like, pundits, like, people that know these things were telling you, hey, forget about Nevada. Like, Biden's got no chance. She's up 6 points in Nevada right now. Forget North Carolina. That firmly read this election. She's up by a point in North Carolina in this poll. Forget Arizona. She's down by a point in this poll in Arizona.
Bro,
Forget
by
Georgia.
the way, Arizona, just a slight aside. Arizona, the reason why the numbers are shifting is because Mormons are freaking out and don't want to vote for him anymore.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. So Joe Biden was down, I think, 10 points or 11 points in Georgia while he was running. She's down 4 right now.
That's
to Donald Trump. Here's another fun one. Everyone was saying, oh, they're going to put Michigan back in play. Like, Michigan's been a pretty firmly blue state for a while now. They're going to put it back in play. She's up 7. like in this polling that's 7 before.
What play? Like, yeah. Again, you cannot discount excitement. You can't. Like, and I think those numbers would not have been as dire, by the way, if Biden had gotten all the way to the convention. Like, I think these numbers would have shored up a little bit. I'm not sure they would have shored up like this. I think maybe you go in a 50-50 race. I don't think you're seeing Biden dominating Michigan by 7 points. Like, I just don't. Maybe by like 1 or 2 points, sure, but by 7, no, I don't. So yeah, he should be scared. A very good observation about this, which I enjoyed, was picking walls did something that, a lot of times you pick the VP to kind of fill in where you can't fill in and stuff like that. And picking walls did that in a lot of ways, right? Which are pretty obvious. But one of the things that picking walls did for Harris that was not to fill in a gap, but to more reinforce something, is that he keeps eating up the fucking news cycle like Harris does. And Trump can't get in. Like, he's like, I'm having a big press conference. You better come to my house and listen to what I have to say. Like,
I've got cereal here. Like, I went to the store beforehand. I've got all sorts of props to show you. And it's just like, like we're having fun talking about these guys. Like, did you see Tim Walz kids giving him bunny ears? Like, that's really relatable. Like, we love covering this stuff.
Trump is like, Don Jr., do the thing. And Don Jr.'s like, this? No, I'm not the devil, you idiot. Like, because they don't, like, capturing TV was Trump's thing. And you just you couldn't wrestle it away from him. But it's hard for the news to not be like, get swept up in all, like, the fun of it all. Like, oh shit, everybody's having a good time. We're having a good time. They can't help themselves. And it's great. And she doubled down by picking a guy who's like, cool, I'm going to have fun too. And they just keep swallowing up the fucking airways. And Trump is being driven crazy over it. I love it. It's wonderful to watch. It really is.
Well, and again, like their reactions are just like, well, I'm rubber, you're glue, and whatever you say, like that's literally the approach they're taking. Is basically just like, you call us weird, you're weird. Or as Trump said, like at a fundraiser, when they he's like, oh, they call me weird. He's like, oh, or someone is like, what do you think about them calling you weird? He's like, oh, they're not talking about me. They're talking about JD. Like that's not.
Wow, dude. Jesus. One, that's fucked up. Like, you're just gonna throw your boy under the bus. That's fucking hilarious. 2, bro, they're still talking about you too. Like, both of you. Like, you're both fucking
100%.
Like, you do 100%. the double dildo dance. Like, yeah, no, they're talking about you. You're weird. That's really funny. Not talking about me. Fuck that guy. The guy who goes to Philadelphia and asks for Swiss cheese on his pass.
I think we could just call J. Like, do you think it's appropriate to just call JD Vance Reek at this point? Like, I feel like that's a pretty good.
Oh, it was like, what's your name? That's fucking hilarious. What a loser, man. Like, Donald Trump is a dick. Donald Trump's an asshole. Like, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about that weird motherfucker I chose. But that's your guy. Like, yeah, I know. But, any opportunity to make myself look good, to push down others, that's kind of my thing. So, all right, cool.
So unfortunately with Trump, like, we're going to start at, like, the high end of like the serious stuff that he's doing, and then we'll slowly slide into the more ridiculous things because you put the serious story up front here.
Yeah. All right. So let's do it. The Logan Act.
What even is the Logan Act? Jay, let me ask you a philosophical question.
Yes.
If a law is on the books but nobody bothers enforcing it, does it really exist? Is it really illegal?
I mean, one could make an argument. Not really. Emoluments. Is it as the kids say? Is it gay to follow the Logan Act, or is it like it's like tough to break? So the Logan Act is, by the way, I looked this up. It's been around since 1799. New law. A lot of people hadn't heard of it. But basically, the law says you are not allowed to negotiate on behalf of the United States unless you are an authorized person to do that, right? Like you can't negotiate like with foreign entities, right? You can't just go over there and be like, hey, I got this deal for you, Russia. Like, don't worry about it. I'm Jay, just random guy. And you're like, all right, cool. That's the deal. We got it. No, they could put me in jail for that. That's fucking bullshit. I don't have the authority for that. Well, Donald Trump was president for 4 years. So clearly a Logan Act never brought up to him, has no idea what it is, could give a shit. So he is, like Tony Blinken, Tony Blinken is over in Israel trying to work out an actual ceasefire deal, like an adult, right? And Trump is on the phone calling Benjamin Netanyahu like, hey man, don't fucking do that deal, baby. Like, if you do the deal, if you sign a ceasefire, that hurts me. It only helps Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
I'll get you a better deal.
I'll get you a better deal. Come on now. And so he's literally trying to negotiate to not do the ceasefire because it would not doing a ceasefire benefits him personally. He's willing to keep a genocide going as long as he can benefit personally from this, which is the most Donald Trump thing ever. So, of course, I'm sure Benjamin Netanyahu is all ears because...
100%.
You don't want a ceasefire anyway. Get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not. Can we throw him in jail? Like, can we just put Donald Trump in?
I sincerely hope that that the DOJ starts investigating this because, kind of a problem. I mean, it was not a good look when Netanyahu was in town recently that he met with the Trump campaign. And I get, like, is that normal? Like, I know it's kind of normal for, like, foreign... like dignitaries maybe to meet with campaign. I don't recall the last time. I can't recall a time, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I could 100% be wrong. I don't remember the last time a head of state met with a presidential campaign of someone who was not already in office. At the time.
That's not really a thing. I mean, I guess I could technically name one, which would be Nixon, like, during his fucking back channeling, or in more recent memory when Ronald Reagan did his back channeling.
But those weren't official meetings. Like, this is a meeting that Benjamin Netanyahu was literally like on fucking like pictures of him talking to Trump at them. Yeah, no, I don't think so, because again, you'd be violating the Logan Act. Like, this is right. Unacceptable behavior. Look, I guess I'm not naive enough to think that he wouldn't benefit clearly by a ceasefire not happening,
right? And I can understand him even going out on the campaign trail. I think it would be a scumbag thing to do. But I could even understand the idea of him going, they shouldn't do a ceasefire with Hamas. Hamas is evil, blah, 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 to try to keep it going, right? I could totally see that. But actually having phone calls and saying, hey, you should not do this is illegal. Like, you can skirt the legality of it by just going out and
by making public statements.
Yeah, just making public statements, right? Like, that makes sense, like, from a political standpoint.
Hey, Bibi, I don't think Bibi should do the ceasefire. You know, like, hey.
Israel, if you're listening, right? You know, so, like, you could just do it in this scumbag sort of way by just being open about it. But doing it like this, yeah, no, this is illegal. This is bullshit. And he should be frankly, he should be put in prison for it. Or at least the threat of prison very vocally and very, you know, and very publicly from the White House. Dude, you are defying the Logan Act.
Well, not from the White House, from the DOJ.
Or
like don't
the DOJ.
Biden doesn't have to talk about any of this shit.
Right.
But just like DOJ, like, yeah, like we had, like, you know, this was said by you know, a credible news institution who investigated this. So we need to do our due diligence and investigate it as well, because it's literally against the law.
Yeah.
So.
I'm increasingly very annoyed by the idea that this guy just gets away with fucking murder. Like, it drives me crazy, because this to me is an easy one. Like, the DOJ should be all over his ass about this. Now, of course, they're not going to do it because they're going to say, oh, well, if we do that, then that feels like sort of, you know, we're stepping over the line into the election. Yeah, and it's like, it's this level of impropriety. And it's like, bro, they are weaponizing your lack of being honest, right? You are so obsessed with fairness that you are letting unfair practices run amok, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, they know you're not going to say anything, so they just do whatever the fuck they want. Like, oh, you're going to criticize us? Huh? Oh, sounds like thumb on a scale. What are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, all right, I'm not going to say anything. And they're like, yeah, let's keep doing crimes. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, and people are upset because, like, a couple of news stories that have gone around this week, or not even news stories, but just people online are like getting pissed off at the press, right? Because they received these hacked documents that you know, from the Trump campaign, and they're not publishing them. And people are like, well, what the fuck? Like, you guys ran all Hillary Clinton's emails in 2016. And like, I get where the anger comes from, but at the same time, like, even though, like, to your point, like, it seems like Donald Trump always gets away with it all the time, you should at least give the media some credit for learning the lesson from 2016. Like, hey, when someone gives you this shit, that you're not running to the presses with it right away.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I understand both sides of the argument, like the level of frustration because it's uneven, but at the same time, like, you don't want to start the precedent of doing the bad thing all the time to make a point. Like, that's, you don't get a, like, you can't have a mulligan on this. Like, it's unfair, but like,
as the very stupid phrase goes, but in this case, it's apt. Two wrongs, in fact, do not make a right.
Yeah, like no, but it's not fair for us. Like, yeah, I know, but like, if we're gonna do the right thing, we gotta do the right thing now. Like, but what about you didn't get it right the last time? Again, we agree. Like,
why are you bringing a bullshit? Like,
yeah, like, I mean, basically,
we're moving forward.
I mean, basically,
we're never going back. We're never going back to the days.
Like, you guys like her. That's what she keeps saying to us, right? So yeah, it is kind of funny. Like, you are making the argument of like, keep doing the wrong thing because it's fair to us now. Like, that's
right.
Yeah, that's not how that works, unfortunately, guys. All right. I don't know who wrote this. Probably a handsome gentleman. Dude, we fucking told you. Trump gets mad about the debate schedule. Look, I love this for him. As people say, I absolutely love this. It's great.
Well, he's mad. He's mad that Harris has officially now said no to the debate that she already unofficially said no to about going to Fox before the September 10th debate, the one that he tried to basically peer pressure her into. He's very mad about this, even though there was no expectation that she would ever agree to doing this debate.
Right. And look, this is exactly what we mentioned. He set up, he's trying to fucking Lucy football Charlie Brown, right? Like, he's basically like, listen, all right, I'm agree to the 10th, but I'm also gonna agree, I'm gonna agree to the 4th. And then when you pick the 4th, then I'll cancel all the other ones, right? Like, that was the obvious thing he was gonna do. And Harris was like, that's cool, but I'll see you on the 10th. And I said, I made this point on the show. You watch. This asshole is going to say she's scared to do the one on the 4th, and he's going to rail against her and how she's the coward and everything else. And that's exactly what he's doing. Why is she afraid to do the 4th? Bitch, I never said I was doing the 4th. You said you were doing the 4th. We agreed on the 10th.
It is quite literally, and the only reason I'm reminded of it is because somebody had posted clips in our little wrestling private chat that we have. This is literally the exact same situation. So, like, if anyone remembers the very famous Hulk Hogan Shawn Michaels match from SummerSlam, where Shawn Michaels flopped around the ring,
yes,
like he had no bones. This was literally this would have been the equivalent of that, because originally, like, he and Hogan were supposed to have 2 matches and they were each supposed to win one, and then, like, right before the SummerSlam match where Hogan was scheduled to win, he was like, "Oh, my back's fucked up, brother. I can only do this one match." And Shawn Michaels like, "Oh, it's like that? Cool. Like, we're gonna go have some fun then."
I'm gonna act like a goddamn idiot. Cool, no
but
problem.
You're right. Like, it literally would have just been that where he would have well. And look, Donald Trump, if you got Fox already booked for the 4th, like, do a town hall with them. I encourage you having a microphone. No, he is.
He is. That's what's exactly happening. Yeah,
fantastic.
This is only good for Harris.
I'm gonna say I am all for him having a microphone in his face as much as possible. Yes. During the next 2.5 months.
Yes. Quote, rather than a debate on September 4th, I have agreed to do a teletown hall anchored by Sean Hannity for Fox. It will take place in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Details to follow. Look.
Fucking Commonwealth. Get out of here.
Yeah. You're a goddamn state.
You're a state. You're a state. Get over it. Massachusetts.
Yeah. Virginia. Shut
Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, you only say it every 4 years during the convention. Shut up. Nobody cares. You're not special. But yeah, this doesn't hurt Kamala Harris. Like, oh, he's going to get up there and say some terrible things about it. You mean like all of his other shitty rallies? Cool. Look, you're going to put your foot directly into your mouth. Good, bro. Keep going. Yeah. This sounds awesome.
I can't wait to see the press release from the Harris campaign after that town hall is over. I'm sure it's going to be a humdinger, because so far they've been acing it so far.
Yeah, another fucking drill tweet, like just laying into every aspect of his bullshit. But good. They look again, and it cannot be stated enough. These guys are old. And they are running against a person and a team that is much younger and much quicker than them. And look, again, not to put too fine a point on it, it's exactly what happened to McCain, except McCain wasn't a fucking piece of shit. McCain's campaign couldn't compete with Obama's. Dude, you got a bunch of fucking hotshot 20-year-olds figuring out the internet, and McCain's like, have we tried door to door? Like, no,
that and also you also had, we're being undercut constantly by one of the dumbest people to ever appear on the national political stage.
Well, that's also true. I'm from Wasilla. Oh God, the world's worst mistake. But they're trying to keep up with people who are 10 steps ahead of them. And they like, I'm gonna do it on the 4th, and she'll never see it coming. Bitch, I saw it coming a mile away. What the fuck? Go ahead.
In fact, what we're probably gonna get is one of my, I actually really love when Donald Trump is interviewed by Sean Hannity, because Sean Hannity is not a stupid person, and he knows that that Donald Trump sounds like a psychopath to people. So when Donald Trump starts going down Sean Hannity tries to wrangle him back in, and then inevitably Trump just breaks free of the line and says the most doubles down on the most insane thing possible.
Yeah. Hey, you're not going to be a dictator on day one. No. That's what I said. I'm going to be a dictator on day one. That's what I said.
Well, no. It was. You're not going to be a dictator, are you? And Trump's like, on day one, yes, I'm going to be a dictator, but just on day one.
Yeah, and again, by all means. Please go forth on the 4th. We cannot wait. We are not upset because, by the way, you're going to embarrass yourself on the 4th. You're going to say some wild, dumb shit on the 4th. They're going to meme that shit to death for 6 days. You're going to meet up with Harris, and they're going to have every line ready to dunk on all the dumb shit you said on the 4th, and they're going to dunk on all the dumb shit you've said before that. Congratulations, more ammo fresh ammo to your opponent because you cannot keep it together. Oh, he's going to make a pivot and change and all. He can't. He
tried.
For 9 minutes.
Yeah, he did. He did an event earlier this week where he finally stuck to the teleprompter, and he sounded so bored. Read it off the teleprompter. Like he fucking hated it. He couldn't stand it.
He wants to get out there and like fucking bebop and scat and whatever other bullshit. That's what he wants to do. And the thing is, he's not intelligent enough to keep the shit together. He's not. Like, he loves speaking extemporaneously. That's wonderful. Except his brain is bad. So like, he can't help but fuck it up. So look, dude, you want to do a town hall? Do you want to do 2 of them before the 10th? It's fine. I don't give a shit. Do one every day, right? Just do one.
It's actually the worst thing he could do because, like, I know that, like, the guys they get in there are, like, the people they get in there are like, Fox viewers. So it's not like, you know, he's going to get some real tough questions. But they're going to ask him questions about, like, real things. And he's going to have to, like, come up with the answers to those questions. And he won't answer them because he can't fucking answer anything. There was a couple weeks ago, or it might have been a week ago, there was he was taking questions for, I can't remember what the context was, but a caller called in with like a legitimate question about like, what are you going to do to like lower prices? Because I have a kid and it's really expensive to do this and to, you know, buy gasoline and stuff like this. So like, what are you going to do to help lower prices? And all he could say was the same platitude nonsense that he says all the time, where it's like, we're going to have the best inflation ever. We're going to drill, baby, drill. And that's how we're going to lower grocery price. And it's just like, dude, you don't have a plan. You have no plans. You have no idea. Meanwhile, the Harris campaign's out here like, yeah, like we're going to sign laws to limit corporations from price gouging. Like that's one thing we're going to do. We're going to get the child tax credit back out into the mix to get more money in the hands of everyday people so that they can afford the things that they need to buy. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's just like, that's what we're going to do. What are you going to do? We're going to drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to do. Like, I'm just like, bro, like what the fuck?
How does drill, baby, drill lower my fucking price of corn every week? How? Right. How, dude? Explain. I'd be like, dude, all right, we're going to drill, baby, drill. Cool. Great. Awesome slogan. From Sarah Palin. All right. How is that going to change the price of grapes for my kid? Right? Like, what does it do? Well, the trucks bring the grapes and like, I want you to explain it to me. Does he know where grapes come from? I doubt it. Right. So like, he doesn't have any actionable policies that have levels of detail to them. He simply does not. Right. Which is obvious. I mean, we all know that. Anybody listening to the show, their brains work. So like, we all get it. But it is amazing that he thinks that he can just continue to snowball people. Now, you can snowball people on the right, but like you're now into this era where everyone is going to start watching these town halls and shit, right? Like you've had that luxury of just doing the rallies for your people and you guys are high-fiving and you're just saying all the shit like, oh, he's saying drill, baby, drill line and all this other shit, build a wall. He's saying all those lines. But now you're starting to get into the moment where people go, oh, no, let me turn on the TV. Let me see what old Don's talking about. And people are going to turn the TV on and go, oh, one, he's talking gibberish. None of this makes any sense. He's crazier than he was the last time I saw him when I was paying attention. And he doesn't have anything new. It's all grievance. It's all making fun of people. He don't have anything new. And then it's like, oh, what's the Harris campaign talking? We're going to give you a $6,000 fucking credit for, tax credit for your kids. We're going to try to push to get women's rights back and all this other stuff. It's like, oh, these are like real things. These are not, we're going to get rid of inflation fantasy.
Remember that 6 months where you were getting $200 a month or whatever it was? Like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, yeah, how would you like to have that, but more? I'd like it very much, actually. Like, that'd be pretty dope. So, like, look, people don't really give a fuck about policy. Like, I recognize that. Like, if that were true, a lot of these politicians would never ascend to where they are on both sides. But when you can at least give some level of what you're going to do to affect people's lives,
that is much more effective, right? You don't have to be like, well, and then we're going to move the tax brackets and we're going to increase it by 7% for the corporate tax. You don't have to say all that shit, right? You say we're going to increase corporate taxes and people go, got it, right? We're going to stop corporations from price gouging. Got it. I understand what that means, right? Unless you don't know what gouging means. Maybe you're a Republican. I don't know. But like, you understand what those words mean. Donald Trump is just like, I'm going to make inflation go away. How? By drilling. But those two things don't make sense. Like they don't connect. Now maybe, look, for a lot of Republicans, they do connect. I don't know why, but for some reason they can fucking see the Matrix or some shit and they understand it. But to me, I think the average American goes, that doesn't really make any sense what you're saying.
Well, also it also doesn't matter because inflation is down now and prices are still high because the two are tangentially related, but they're not one-to-one.
Right.
They're not one-to-one. So.
Corporations are fucking you, my friend. That's the reason. But, hey, if we control price gouging, then we're a communist nation. Also, you need to fix price gouging. What would you like me to do? Right? Which is just hilarious.
I'm particularly proud of this line that I wrote. So like every week there's a new Republican message that comes out. This is the message for this week. As I wrote in the docket, this week's Republican message, anything you can coup, I can coup better. So now like the new the new line that's coming out and trying to seed this belief on the Republican side that somehow Kamala Harris's potential election win will be illegitimate, is that the nominee space was stolen from Joe Biden in a Democratic coup, and therefore Kamala Harris is not the legitimate Democratic nominee, and therefore cannot legitimately win the presidential election. Okay. Quoting Trump now, this was an overthrow of a president. This was an overthrow. They deposed the president. It was a coup of a president. This was a coup. I will note for those listening at home that might be a little confused right now. Yes, indeed, Joe Biden is still the president of the United States as we speak here today. So, and up until literally 20 minutes or literally like an hour ago, as we're recording this, Kamala, there was no Democratic presidential nominee, and now there is, and it's Kamala Harris.
Brad, look, and I say this with I do say this with all due disrespect. That was a very nasty read of this of Trump's statement. It was very nasty, very rude. Yeah, he's an idiot. Like, it's a coup. He's still the president. What are you talking about? Look, they will make this argument in court, okay? If and when he loses, they will make this argument in court that she was not allowed to win because she stole the nomination from Joe Biden, who endorsed her as the presumptive nominee because he was not the actual nominee. And then she became the presumptive nominee, and then she got the nomination from her party because the party's politics and how they nominate people is based on what the party wants, not a government entity. And then she got the nomination, and then she beat Donald Trump fair and square, and then he will complain about how all of that was a coup. Meanwhile, the entire time, and even during the lame duck session when Kamala Harris has already won the election and is just kind of waiting to take over, you know who's still in the White House? Joseph Robinette Biden is still the president, as you're making the argument in court that it was a coup based on what? I don't understand.
Well, and his
do these words have any meaning?
And his supporters are like this Post article that has the story was quoting some of his supporters from the rally where he first talked about this, and this like woman was like, the Democrats are getting cheated and they don't even realize it because they're not getting to vote for their candidate. I assure you, the Democrats are A-okay right now. Like, we are totally fine with the choice in front of us.
By the way, who are the Democrats who aren't? Right? Like, who are the dead ender? Who are the Biden dead enders who are like, I wanted Biden and not Kamala Harris, who's doing better in the race. I wanted Joe Biden. Who are these people? Where are they? Where are they? Like, where are these fictional Democrats who are super pissed that Joe Biden has now moved away from the nomination, and the person who he chose to usurp him, I guess would be the proper term for it, the person he chose to do the coup against him, first time that's ever happened in the history of coups. Where are these people who are mad about this? Where are they? That we're voting for.
They'll find the Democratic voter who's mad about it, and then they'll interview her, and then we'll find out a week later that she's like the Republican chair of Bumfuck County and somewhere in Wyoming.
Yeah, this is not these people do not exist. And by the way, if you supported Joe Biden and he's stepping down, it would make zero sense for you not to support Kamala Harris, because if Joe Biden had died, that's who they would have chosen as the nominee. That's who they would have chosen. The party would have been like, well, it's obvious that now that you're the former vice president and you're the president now, surely you would be the person to take over the nomination. And everyone would agree, because that would be how it would work. They would be like, well, yeah, in normal circumstances, the person who is the incumbent is the person who runs for fucking re-election. So if he had died, that's what they would have chosen. We already voted for her. What you mean to say as a Republican is, I'm mad because we're losing. Just say that. Be honest. It's not a coup. Also, it's not a coup. He's still president. Why are we even arguing this? It's insanity. It's fucking insanity. It's a coup, but he got to keep his job. What the fuck coup is that, man? That sounds awesome.
It's a slow moving coup.
It's a fucking the rarely seen glacial coup.
That's Jay. It's great. That's a coincidentally fantastic analogy you just made, because very, very normal looking on the surface, but below the iceberg,
who could
so
truly
deep. It's so deep.
Dude, that is so fucking dumb. They are terrified at losing. That's it. They're just terrified to lose. That's all it is. It has nothing to do. It's like all this weird concern trolling. Oh, but aren't you guys upset about it? No, bitch, we're gonna win. No, we're good. This shit rocks. Look, I was not a fan of pushing Biden out, but once it got to the point where it was like, oh, this shit is gonna happen, we said on the show, if it's gonna happen, it needs to be Harris. And lo and behold, it did happen, and we got Harris. And guess what? People seem pretty fucking happy about it. I don't know, man. It feels like you guys are just butthurt that you're gonna.
But again, this is the same fucking playbook. If you recall, way back in 2016, I know it's hard to remember this because so much has happened since then. When Ted Cruz won Iowa, the first thing that Donald Trump went out and fucking said in the Republican primary is they're rigging it against me. They're rigging these primaries against me.
It's all rigged, baby.
There's no way that Ted Cruz beat me.
Yeah, and
it's his old shit.
Right, and then he proceeded to trounce everyone in every other race after that, and suddenly those were not rigged. Weird, right? Okay, was it rigged then?
Again, we don't have to make up shit about it. All you have to do is listen to shit that he says. Hey, the polls that had me winning, those are the real polls. The polls that I'm not winning, those are the fake polls.
Yeah. All right, bro.
JD Vance, they literally asked him, hey, you guys are losing right now in Pennsylvania. JD Vance is out here well, those are fake polls. I don't know, guys. I feel like that if I were you, I might actually be concerned about the fact that, we're losing a really important battleground state now, apparently. And not just say, oh, polling's fake, we're definitely still winning. I'd be worried.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. Their internal polls,
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, bro, no, that poll's real. You just stop fucking around. They're this is the bullshit. They are, Trump came up with this term a long time.
They're projecting strength. So.
Yeah, no, they're projecting strength. And it's also they're also, Trump came up with this term a long time ago. I don't know if you've ever heard it. They're priming the pump.
Oh, yeah. You're right. That great economic, they have fucking Doug signs in the DNC right now. Everyone's got fucking Doug signs. Get out of here, Doug. What the fuck?
Hell yeah, man. Excuse me. We did find out that she refers to him as Dougie. So
that's true.
The first man and it's weird because shocking news. Kamala Harris, anti-Semite, married to I think he may be a Jew. Maybe.
With that news,
wow, they really do have.
She refers to him as Dougie. If they win, he has to Dougie.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I do not need that at all. I don't need that at all. I don't need, for the love of God, I do not need to see the first dude trying desperately to do the Dougie. Oh God.
Oh, by the way, motion to officially
vote. I will change my fucking vote. I swear to God. If he does it tonight.
Motion to call his title first dude, by the way. I don't like first gentleman. Let's go with first dude.
First dude. I'm all right with that. Yeah. Look, he's got some first dude vibes, right? He's just kind of like, he's kind of like successful dorky lawyer. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, good. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucking embarrassing. I love that. Aren't you guys concerned? No. No, we're not concerned at all. We are not concerned about a coup happening to Joe Biden. He seems fine. They had him up there by gunpoint, like, you better fucking pass that torch. That doesn't really mean anything. It's like, oh, okay, all right. She's great. I love it. I love being here. Trump had another nonsensical rally. You're going to have to be a little bit more specific there, Brad. Which one?
I mean, that is the thing, because he did, like I said, he did the thing where, he was at his New Jersey club this time with like fucking various grocery goods, where he's talking about like, it costs $25 to buy cereal, and if you steal under $900, they don't even arrest you. And so you have criminals going around with calculators, making sure that they don't steal over $900. By the way, what he's referring to, in his very dumb way, is that most states have laws in place where, like, unless you steal like a certain amount of money, it's a misdemeanor.
California has gotten to a big thing.
Yeah. So, but what I'm referring to specifically, is during the this kind of follow up story to the Elon interview last week, where he talked about
right.
The time cover that Kamala Harris is on looks like Melania.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
No, not at all. Not at all. But basically, at his rally in, I think it was somewhere in Pennsylvania this weekend, and amid the very many insane things that he said, is basically he's talking about he's like, yeah, they talk about that she's better looking than me, and I don't think she's better looking than me. As a matter of fact, I'm much better looking than her. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Dude is having the strangest angry boners for the next 80 days. Like that he's like, she's so hot, but I'm so angry at her. Like, how could she run away? How could she run this race against me? Like, bro.
He also he also said in the same speech, Joe Biden hates her. Like, okay, yeah, he only picked her to be his vice president, and then later in the speech, during a specific like rambling part of the speech, he talked about how we say that he rambles, but he doesn't ramble.
Yeah, and then he rambled.
Here's the exact quote. They will say he's rambling. I don't ramble. I'm a really smart guy, and I'm sure he pointed at his head.
Yeah, you got to point. You got to point at the head.
He did that.
Yeah. All up there, buddy. Where? I don't know. It's all up there though. Yeah, it's of course. He's a fucking buffoon. He's just a buffoon. Like, again, why would we be mad that you're gonna have a rally, or excuse me, a teletown hall? This bitch ain't even going there. He's not even going there. He's doing this shit from the house. He's tired. He's a tired.
Well, he'll be there with Hannity.
Oh, are they piping people in?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be there with Hannity, and they'll have people like calling in to the town hall. Essentially,
I'm immediately skeptical. I have to tell you, I'm immediately because the dude is not doing as many. He's not doing as many road shows. Now maybe that could be he's a little freaked out about the shooting. In fairness, like it could be that. There was a report this week that they are putting protective glass around him, and he's getting back out there. I
support that. I think that they should put glass around him, bulletproof glass, on all sides and the top. Mm-hmm. No air holes. Not all. Just seal it in to a bulletproof glass chamber to keep him safe. That's what we're looking for. Yeah. By the way, there is another reason that maybe he's not doing so many events, because there's a story about how the facility that he went to, I think, for his North Carolina rally, in the past week or so, forced him to pay up front for the space.
Aww.
Given his notable history on welding.
Well, like, what was the whole thing? Like, he landed in one part of Montana. Like, he didn't land in like Bozeman. He landed in like some other fucking rando part of Montana, and it was because he owes Bozeman, Montana, like $100,000, and he was just like, stop at the other place. Fuck that. Those motherfuckers be waiting on the tarmac and like, put your credit card in this machine, motherfucker. Like, let's go. We want our money. So yeah, dude owes like he's like a real degenerate. He just owes. He's got gambling debts all over town. Like, he's gonna at some point he's just gonna have to go from like Mar-a-Lago to like the local Panera and back. Like, he's not gonna be able to go anywhere.
I mean, look. What I will tell you is that a word of advice for him: if anyone from like one of these cities that he go to, like, drives him out to like some rural cornfield somewhere in Iowa, do not go, Donald. Do not go into the cornfield. It's not gonna work out well for you.
It's the Joe Pesci scene from Casino.
Yeah, it's a casino.
yeah. Except for bats, it's just like them just like money, and like, just give it to us right now. Like, no. This is friends laying down their wallets, or their pockets out like rabbit ears. Like, oh, they got us, Donald. Please don't. Yeah, no, he owes money.
They beat the shit out of JD Vance first, make him watch, and they're like, "Oh, doesn't this upset you?" He's like, "Not really. I like JD's expendable. Like, take him, not me.
Yeah.
I'm much prettier."
VPs don't mean anything.
I tried to kill the last guy.
I'll do it again. I'll fucking do it again. What was it? Jamie Raskin made that point. He was like, "Hey, JD Vance, they tried to kill your predecessor, my dude." It was like, I mean, you can't really argue it. Like, they did, though. Like, they did. I did hear him referred to as JD Vance as a pro-natalist, which really made me sick to my stomach. It's a really weird fucking thing to say about somebody. Because he is.
It is.
Yeah. He's like a really
weird guy.
Yeah. Like, we just fucking keep having babies.
That's, we don't have a specific JD Vance story this week, but again, my favorite thing with him is just the fact that we keep surfacing like old quotes about him from 2021, basically. Just him saying insane things, like, yeah, like if a woman gets raped and she's pregnant, like, that's inconvenient, but like, we still need to have the baby. Like, inconvenient? We're talking about, okay, cool.
That's the word we're using. All right, bro. Like, yeah, he said he was fine. It was like from 2021 or something. He said like he would prefer a national abortion ban. I'm like, bro, go on TV and say that shit every day, please, by all means. Even Donald Trump thinks that's a bad fucking idea. But okay, they had a 271 page fucking document on all your terrible fucking shit, and they still put you in the position because Peter Thiel told them so. So cool. I'm glad Donald Trump's not bought, by the way. What a weird thought process. Donald Trump decided, you know what? I don't think I've pissed off vets enough. So, it's high time we get right back into that whole thing.
It's, before you get into the story, and everyone's, I'm sure, heard it before we reiterated, it is really funny that he got so mad when John Kelly came out and talked about the fact that, like, he wouldn't go to these like memorial events, or when he was forced to go, like, he referred to the people that are literally in the fucking cemetery, died in war, suckers and losers, like that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. And he got really mad about that. and like, oh, it's bullshit, it's not true, this guy is full of shit, like he was literally your chief of staff, but okay, bud. And like you can't believe him, he's a crooked general or whatever.
And by the way, he was a fucking dead ender, by the way. Like he was a real dead ender for the Trump administration.
Yeah. But you would think that knowing that that's the case, like knowing that quote is out there about you, and also like some other wild fucking military quotes. What did he say? He like there's another one where like Mattis, I think, brought a disabled veteran in a wheelchair to like a ceremony or something to sing the national anthem, and Trump's like why are you bringing guys like that here? Like that's gross. Like they're gross to look at.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's really he has this weird thing apparently, like he's terrified of being like disfigured. Like that's a thing. Mm-hmm. So any sort of amputees and shit like that. Like
this explains the shark fear.
Probably.
That's probably where that comes from.
It's gonna bite my arm off. Like, good. I hope it does. You fucking idiot. Also, can he even swim? Like, chances are fucking stone. But yeah, he has a real fear of being like maimed or something like that. So I think that's why he has this like visceral reaction to soldiers who have been hurt overseas. Look, I mean, everybody kind of goes, "Ooh, holy shit!" Like that's kind of fucked up, right? Like that's a normal human response. But he's just like, "Gross, get him out of here." That's not a normal human response. It's like,
no, not at all.
The guy lost his arm, or they're Tammy Duckworth lost her legs or whatever. Like you're like, wow, that's fucking wild. But like he's just a piece of shit who has no inability to show empathy for anybody. Like it's just not it.
Yeah. He's a sociopath.
He quite literally is. Like I mean, well, I don't know it, but all signs point to yes, right? Like
correct. So knowing all this as preface to this story, you would think that he would be going out of his way to make sure that he is sucking the fucking military dick wherever he possibly can.
You would think you want to make sure you shore up that base. But no, that's not really his thing. He's just like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and piss in the military's face yet again. And for some reason, they still support you. I don't get it. So apparently, Donald Trump was giving a
oh no, not apparently, he's on record, like there's
oh no, I saw a video. Oh no, you're right. I saw a video. It's fucking insane. He basically says like he's giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Sheldon Adelson's wife, right? Why?
He did when he was president.
Yeah, he did. I'm sorry. And he basically equated that the Medal of Freedom and the Medal of Honor are the same. They're not the same, by the way. The Medal of Honor is given to the military, and the Medal of Freedom is given to civilians, right? They are not the same. They're both the highest that you can get, right? But I would not put them on the same level. And he
to be fair, neither would Trump,
but in a different,
not in the way that you might be expecting,
right? So to give you an idea of who he gave this Medal of Freedom to is Sheldon Adelson's wife, who he basically just gave it to her because the Adelsons gave him a bunch of fucking money, right? Like that's
still do.
They still do, right?
She's donated. I think she's donated $27 million to his current campaign.
Ugh. Just get out. The both of you, and so like that's really why he's giving them money, or excuse me, giving them these honors. But he says in this speech that the Medal of Freedom is better than the Congressional Medal of Freedom is better, right? He's putting it above, which is weird, is better than the Congressional Medal of Honor, again, given to soldiers, because the one that's given to soldiers, the honor medal, most of those soldiers are all like messed up when they get back. You gotta have a leg.
I'll give you the exact quote. Talking about the Medal of Freedom, it's actually much better. The Medal of Freedom is because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That soldiers, they're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead.
Cool. What a lovely thing to say. And to that I asked, if you're in the military, why the fuck do you support that guy? Why?
Why would you want him to be your fucking commander in chief? Because if he has so little regard for what you do, if all you are is suckers and losers to him, what does that say to the kind of to the kind of petty conflict that he would have no problem throwing your bodies at, like into a meat grinder to serve his needs if he felt like he needed to?
Yeah. I mean, surely he would respect the military by, making a phone call to a soldier who was killed in Niger and not be disrespectful to the soldier's wife, right? Surely that would happen after her husband died, right? Right? That would definitely not happen. Oh, right. It totally happened. And it's not speculation. His wife said that. Like, his wife was like, he was incredibly disrespectful on the phone because he doesn't give a fuck that your husband died. He doesn't. He probably was forced to make that phone call and didn't want to do it to begin with. And he was just like, your husband died. My bad. That's not really my bad. Probably Obama did it. You could probably blame him. He was looking at me in my microwave. I don't know if you heard those stories. Sir, my husband died and I'm still crying. Like, well, you're very lucky to have me as president. Like, no, this guy sucks. He sucks in everybody who has a personal moment with him, for the most part, is like, this guy is a garbage person. He is an utter garbage person. And then turns out they're correct.
I'm like I said, it's just such an insane thing to say out loud. You know what I mean? And again, I guess he thought he was like safe because I think this was at like a donor fundraiser or something. So why it was being recorded, I have no fucking idea in the first place. But I guess he thought he was like amongst friends, so like it would be okay for him to say shit like this.
They were like, nah.
But just like, bro, like, again, like, part of your many jobs as president is you are literally the commander in chief of the military. Well, and again, we have, like,
so says
we've talked about several times on the show, we have a lot of problems with the American military as an institution. Those problems don't really fucking fall down to, especially like the enlisted soldiers that are fucking fighting in the in the military, that are there because they fucking want to be. Yeah. Or because they're trying to,
better their
get
life
help with 4 years of college. So
yeah, like, sadly, that is the truth. But at the same time, you don't have, unless you're talking about somebody doing something terrible in war or something like that, you don't disrespect the soldiers. Like, they are putting their lives in harm's way for whatever the ultimate reason for themselves personally is, but they are putting themselves in harm's way as service.
So that literally I don't have to.
Yeah, because I ain't going.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being quite frank, like, I really appreciate all the people that fucking do this shit because I sure the fuck ain't.
No. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.